third term, right? So Obama's name popped up like, yo, we got to get Obama to run. No, matter of fact, he said that he don't mind going against Obama for his third term,
I mean, he
right?
talk
So
he say
yeah.
that, you know.
So, but I mean, I'm just trying to figure out like who makes those decisions. I mean, he comes in and says, "Hey, I want to." He's like trying to come in and switch things around. Like, these aren't the rules. Like, you do 2 terms and you out. This dude wants to create a third term for himself.
Right.
Like he's just changing the constitution and everything. He's just doing his own thing,
Yeah.
right? And by him just mentioning that, he said that he doesn't mind going up against Obama for a third term. Now, if he does that, you know, I say, yo, Obama, go ahead, go fuck with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Constitution says that a president can't serve more than 2 terms.
Right,
And
exactly.
that's been the case since FDR, who had a total of 4 terms.
Right.
Um,
And I think Washington had. I think he's probably been president for the longest. I think how many
no,
terms did he?
no, he only did Washington did 2 terms.
He only did
Washington,
2. Oh, okay. I just thought he just stayed until he just passed away.
they wanted him to run for another term because in those days and times we weren't included in this. So just pardon me as I say, he
Uh-huh.
was such a great president that they wanted him to run a third term, and he said negative because the whole idea of America was to not have kings, not have dictators, not
Right.
being under the rule of one authority, but to switch it up,
Hmm.
platform up so more voices could be represented. Of course, we know Black and brown people and women were not considered in that group of folks that had say so. But as we open the gates up, I say we, y'all know what I mean. As
Yeah.
America opened the gates up, we tried to keep that tradition. FDR did such a great job coming out of World War II, the Great Depression, the New Deal policies that kind of created what we know today as the middle class. There's a lot of rights were afforded to the common man, poor people that he was able to rock out. But it's been 2 terms ever since then, and in order to legally go past that, Congress would have to pass a law to say that presidents can run for longer than 2 terms.
Right.
With the midterms happening next year and what the Republicans have been doing thus far under this administration, it doesn't look likely that if all is fair, he's going to get a third term, or even that the Republicans are going to hold the House and Senate after the midterms next year. However, this dude don't really play by the rules.
That's
So
what I'm saying. Yeah.
he can
Yeah.
just bully his way in there and be like, fuck that shit. I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do.
That's what he's gonna try to do.
Uh,
That's what he's gonna try to do.
yeah,
Trust me, they gonna try it.
he going to try. Nah, I
Mhm.
don't put it past him. If he
Mhm.
say he wants it, he's going to try. Now, how we counter that, I should say we, but how, America counters that will decide whether or not that's a reality for him,
Right.
So, but yeah, man, that all kind of bears, unfortunately bears weight on how everyday Americans live their lives and the decisions that we make. The economy is real. The housing crisis is real. It's serious out there, but I guess that's a topic for another time. There's a lot we got to cover.
Mhm.
We definitely want people to understand what we're all about as OSNSR, old school, new school rules. You and I and Vita, big shout out to Jamel, Vita Ridgeway. We've been working on this project for a little while now, and it's coming together nicely, Mr. Lawrence. The Amin Ra, it's coming together nicely. You there?
You must say, I'm here.
Okay, yeah. So, let the
Yeah.
people know where they can find us, man, so they know, OSNSR, what to look out for us, how to stay in tune to what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. So that's www.osnsr, right?
Yeah, OSNSR.com. That's the
Yeah. Old,
website.
yeah, old school, new school rules. So just catch us there. And
Nah,
yeah.
you can't. You got to give them more information than that. Listen, OSNSR, old school, new school rules on all platforms. Facebook, IG, TikTok, YouTube. Every Monday, Ron and I will be rocking at 9 p.m. via IG, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, giving you these live weekly updates, covering pop culture, mainstream culture, hip hop culture from a hip hop perspective, no doubt. And we'll be touching down with, everything from entertainment, of course, music, film, tech,
right,
politics, education. The show is about building bridges between generations, between cultures, between, races of people, getting a deeper understanding of the world through a hip hop perspective, old school, new school rules. Yeah.
Right. So you want to touch? Let's touch about our first episode. You interviewed with me. And, what was your thoughts on that? This was our first episode, as you know. And I guess the second episode would be me interviewing you, correct?
I think we got something special in between your interview and my interview. I think we decided we're gonna come with the Benny Boom, Mini Boom interview. Of course, Benny Boom, the great, phenomenal, great Benny Boom, filmmaker extraordinaire, one of the greatest directors of all time. Of course, directed.
Right. So we're gonna do that next. Yeah.
The next day air, All Eyes on Me, the Tupac movie. His son, Mini Boom, is an up-and-coming producer who's already got some heat rocks from Busta, Fabio Foreign, and a whole bunch of,
Yeah, it seems like he's been pretty busy.
Yeah, man. To be
so
young, he's 17, 18, and he's knocking them out.
Well, the good thing is his pops is in a good position to plug him in.
Yeah.
To get him work. So, he's blessed for that.
Yeah. Well, we got an interview already in the can. We're going to present that to the folks and get into their whole story. What else we got coming up?
What else we got coming up? We do have a was it Raspberry Rocker fundraiser? We got that coming up, right?
We got that coming up, but we got another interview in the can as well, though.
Oh yeah, Domingo.
There you go. Come on.
Domingo. We got Domingo. Yes.
Ron Lawrence, one of the greatest producers of all time. Domingo is definitely one of his peers and one of his, his producer, legendary friend of the family. Domingo, we got it in with him, and we got that lined up as well. But yeah, we got the Ras Baraka fundraiser in Brooklyn coming up in May. We're going to cover that on OSNSR, 24 hours apiece.
24 hours apiece, yeah.
Yeah. September 5th, September 6th. Howard's Homecoming. That's an annual event that we're involved in. It's, on some level, you're a Howard alum.
Right.
Vita's a Howard alum.
Right.
So
yeah, let's talk about
I'm a Howard alum of the parties.
Yeah, exactly. You're an honorable Howard alum.
Yeah, honorary Howard
that
alum.
way, yeah.
You see me at the party. Yeah. I got the weed.
Yeah. So your girl Erykah Badu had on that crazy booty suit on, right? And that was I believe that was Billboard.com, correct?
Vita, come on, let's get it right. We want Erykah Badu. There we go.
Okay, so she got on this booty suit. What was that about? I didn't quite understand it. I mean, I listened to the speech. I heard what she was, what she was saying, but I couldn't understand what this suit was about. I didn't know she was trying to send a message, or that's just her.
I think Erykah is a throwback to what artistry used to be all about, right? It's being creative, being artistic, and let the people use their imagination to try to see what the statement is. Was she making a statement? Was she trying to say something? Was she trying to be funny? Was she trying to be like whatever? She's
just trying to be different.
You're trying to be different. Yeah. She's known to come out in a costume. She can be everything from super duper elegant to super duper sexy and provocative to something like this, which is comical.
Yeah.
It's
I didn't know if she was trying to make mockery or she was just being artistic.
Mockery, that's the word I was looking for.
One piece of advice: suck hard, girls. Suck hard.
Great advice, Miss Badu.
Yeah, that one kind of threw me off too. But you
What's
know, huh?
Go ahead, now you go ahead.
Well, we've always known Erykah Badu to be conscious or pro-black, right? And then sometimes she goes left, and then you just kind of figure out, okay, what's going on here, you know? But
Yeah,
yeah.
I can appreciate her sense of humor. You know,
Hmm.
she can say things in a way that seem like real serious, real deep, esoteric. You know, she got the numerology going on in some of her stuff. You know, of course, she deals with the God body mathematics, pre-mathematics. She was dropping that all in her music. You know, but to be so deep, so pro-black, so, you know, ethnic, but still be so mainstream at the same time is something that
And
many
then
people,
have fun with it, right?
yeah, and have fun with it. You got to appreciate that. You know, she's a legendary individual in so many ways, and I salute her. You know, I do. I definitely do. Erica is one for the ages. And the ladies, that last piece of advice she gave us, take that to heart, because that really, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You know what
But hard, huh?
I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, right, right. What else we got? I know what Vita had up Big U, Lil Baby, and Yellow Beezy. Is that Yellow Beezy?
Yellow
No,
Beezy,
who?
yeah, Yellow
That's Yellow
Beezy.
Beezy at the bottom, right? That's a
Yeah. That's
yeah,
Yellow Beezy, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Well, I
man.
mean, yeah, it's just we're just seeing a lot of that going on within the past few weeks,
Yeah.
where our hip hop has been, the whole criminality aspect of it is at a level high, where
Mm.
you're saying, cats getting arrested, coming up on charges for certain things. As you know, Big U, Big U's caught him. What is that? A RICO charge he's got?
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. I mean, shish. He's got some Diddy charges going on.
His shit is deeper than Diddy, actually.
Yeah.
Deeper than what Diddy's going through, I believe, because
Oh yeah. He's got murder. He's got
murder, racketeering,
racketeering. Yeah.
extortion,
Extortion. Yeah.
kidnapping.
Okay, but all right, but what is that all about? Like, I mean, he just seems like a stand-up dude. You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen him on interviews. So it'll be interesting to see what they got on him and why.
Yeah, you know, it's all
I
allegation.
mean, are you hearing things or are people saying that he's that type of dude that, when you come into LA, you get leaned on? Is he the dude that's like, is he extorting people? Like, what's the deal? Is he the next Suge Knight?
I
You
just,
know what I'm saying?
I just saw a clip of him talk about checking in, like the uh,
Okay.
the necessity of checking in,
Hmm.
you know, and
I
how
heard it. Yeah.
it's just, you know, when we talk about checking in, it has a bunch of different meanings. Like, you know,
Right.
my people, my loved ones, I'm always checking in.
Yeah. You
You
come to
know,
my town. Yeah. You gotta check
I'm
in. Yeah.
checking in with you.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah. But I'm hearing. I think there was a line that Kendrick had said about checking in too.
yeah,
I think which was pertaining to that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've never checked in because I felt like if I didn't check in, you know, I was gonna get robbed, I was gonna get extorted, I was gonna get, touched. But then I'm not that type of guy. I don't roll in those types of circles. I don't do those types of things. And
Yeah.
not that any of us are immune, because we're not. Like the the beat to our intro is a joint we did called Reckless. Any place, anytime, anyone can get it. Bust that gap, pills of water when I wet it. And that's real. Like anybody could get it. You know,
Mm.
anybody could get hemmed up. So we don't want to think we're bigger than the check-in, but at the same time, checking in should be about love, not about fear. I think,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, Big U did say that. He said while Suge Knight was out, he was in jail.
Mhm.
But had he been out, none of that shit been going down with Suge Knight. He wouldn't allow that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, I didn't know.
Yo, the dude is big. Dude, he's like 6'5".
Well, the character Debo
Uh huh.
is based on Big U.
He's 6'5", yo.
Yeah, the character Debo from
Based on Big U. Okay.
Friday is based on Big U, and this is what's the brother's name that played Debo? What's the brother's name that played Debo?
I know you're talking about. Yeah, he passed away.
Yeah, he passed away a couple years ago. God, rest in peace. He's been in so many movies, but he did an interview and he said that he knew who Big U was, and when it was time to do the character Debo, he literally channeled Big U. So if we know who Debo is, and if Debo is telling you, I mimicked him, that's telling you who Big U was at one point.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's interesting, and it's unfortunate because Big U had, he was able to kind of direct his life in a way to help other people and open up doors for young people, and football from Pop Warner, putting people on. I think he worked closely with Snoop in the football leagues, and a bunch of NFL players ended up coming through his system in Pop Warner. I mean, that's huge, and it's a reputation of, doing community work, doing community activity, and what have you. And it's just the other stories that we're getting about him is just disappointing. If they're true, we don't know they're true. There's allegations and accusations, but considering what they're saying, man, it's crazy. I mean, everything from being involved with the murder of Nipsey Hussle, all the way to him being linked to another situation with a young man who was under his care for a while, who ended up dead, unalived. And it's just a bunch of stuff that's on the these internet platforms, the different shows, the academics, the Adam Tools, the Whack 100 is kind of doing his thing with the what's the name of the app that everybody was on during COVID, the group chat.
Clubhouse.
Thank you. Yeah, and they do these Clubhouse rooms and these other platforms, and they're giving up a lot of information about these people that kind of, is not a part of the G code.
Right.
It's like disappointing all the way around. But I pray for my brothers. I hope my brothers can come out of any negative situation. And hey, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this whole criminality thing in hip hop is just at a level high. And it's only gonna get worse. It just seems like, they're cracking down.
Now, let me ask you a question. When we say in hip hop level high, because street people are street people, gangsters are gangsters. When you live in that life, unfortunately, many of our people live that life from out the cradle because of circumstances and situations. And it's what how Dead Prez say, it's bigger than hip hop.
It is bigger than hip hop, but a lot of these dudes who have, notoriety and name for themselves, who are in the media, they're putting themselves in that position. So when something happens, they're exposed, right? So the average dude who's in the street, you're not gonna hear about him. Or somebody like Yellow Busy does something, he's gonna be posted because he's Yellow Busy, right? So so these guys, they're dabbling into the streets and they're living their lifestyle, and they speak about it on records, and they're exposing what they do. And you may have a partner that he may get caught up in it, but you're never gonna hear about him. But you're gonna hear about Yellow Busy because he's making records.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
yeah. It's unfortunate, man, but we've seen a lot of great ones, either die or get locked up, because of not being able to get out of the street life.
Right. But just look at this shift. If you go back 20 years ago, you didn't see much of that, right? But as hip hop gets more into what they talk about, like when the time when we came in, we glorified the streets. We didn't necessarily live what we talked about, but we glorified it, right? We talk, you heard NWA and all these other dudes, but they glorified. I don't want to say they were studio gangsters, but they didn't necessarily live that lifestyle. The younger generation coming up, looking at that, it's like, okay, well, maybe this is what it really is. Maybe that they are living that lifestyle, and I could talk about this on records. So now you have this generation who saw what we did, and they're actually living this lifestyle. So now it's you got the feds on them, and the feds is coming in there and they're taking them out one by one. You know, so that they're on there. That's like a radar, and they're just like, okay, who's next? They got a list of these rappers, and they're coming after them.
Well,
and I guarantee you, before the year is out, we're gonna get at least 2, 3, 4 more.
Let me ask you a question. So, if an entertainer, an artist, is out there committing murder, and they talk about it in their records, they're admitting to it, they're describing it, there are, things that they're saying that can lead to evidence to their connection. Do you think this lyric should be used or not admissible in court?
That's a tough one, but these dudes, they're not even saying this shit on records. They're actually doing it. That's the problem. They get in court doing this shit. They're not even, so it's even past that, But I see your point.
No, I'm saying if
it should be admissible in court.
So he's out there committing murder. Like he committed, she committed. And I'm not going to say rapper. It could be singer. It could be whoever. It could be a poet. It could be a spoken word motherfucker. If you out there killing people and you in your rhyme at 9:15 on the corner of South 12th, I shot this nigga in the head and I sent him there. Like, kill him up.
Yeah.
9:15. It was on the corner.
I mean, you snitching on yourself, basically.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
You snitching on yourself.
Yeah, so
you can't make an excuse and say that's hard.
Why not? Why not?
You snitching.
So let me just say, for the record, I think the battle rap scene, that's the rawest form of hip hop culture alive right now. In terms of spitting bars. You got breakdance, you got DJ, and of course I'm not talking about that. So spitting bars, the battle rap dudes and sisters, they holding hip hop down. The creativity, the bar work, the metaphors.
They're killing it, huh?
The double entendre. Like, these motherfuckers be pulling shit. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
But some of them jokers be actually doing the shit they saying.
Yeah. Like, sometimes it can get out of hand. I done see niggas get knocked out just saying the wrong line, just saying shit, saying the wrong line, or just be in the nigga face and just get like, boom.
And sometimes a motherfucker spit a bar and like the crowd will know, it'll be like connected to some real shit, and the crowd will know like what he really or what she really said, and you see the reaction like, ooh, nah, that was real. He really swung on dude. Nah, that was real. He really did it. And then you got the thing with Remy Ma, Papoose, and Easy the Block Captain. Like, they got a whole lane discussing private shit.
Yeah.
Personal shit. Like, going at each other. And it's like, man, how do you...
But you know what, though? When, I remember when battle rap, okay, there was the diss rap, and there was the battle rap. Right? The diss rap was like what Modi did to Busy Big. That was some different shit.
Okay.
Before that, it was the battle rap. Who had the dopest rhymes? So you get on there, the next nigga come on. So that was the real battle rap. Like who was the nicest nigga? Not who could diss the nigga the best.
Or group.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was like, who was the nicest nigga on the mic? Like, okay, we're gonna head up. And then you could kind of judge by the nigga who had the nicest rhyme.
Right.
All right. But now it's like, okay, who could diss a nigga the best? You don't lyrically gotta be dope on a mic, but if you say the hottest shit to smash a nigga, then you win.
Nah.
I'm just saying.
I beg to disagree because
perfect example, when KRS-One did that record, when he came out dissing Shan, them disses was illmatic. It ain't like he was saying dope shit, because he wasn't, but it was just the shit that he was saying was just so demeaning that he just crushed them.
It was direct. It was
direct.
You
know what I'm saying? He wasn't spitting no crazy lyrics. He was just saying some shit that be like, oh my God, like, yo, he murdered him.
Right. Huh? That's the same way I felt about Nas and Ether. Like, I didn't think Ether, I actually thought Takeover That shit is crazy, nigga. I thought that was doper than Ether. But I know why Ether was the bigger record, and I know why people gravitated to it because it was so direct.
Yeah,
Like
it came straight from the heart. Yeah, he was just saying some shit.
Is so lyrical that to see him say, like, I ain't gonna do it like that. I'm coming straight at you. I understand, why that was the knockout punch. Absolutely. Right. Yeah. Right. But yeah, man. So yeah, battle rap. Well, shoot, one of the biggest battles of all time is Biggie and Tupac. So now you got a chance to kind of see that fairly up close.
Yeah, but was that really a battle? Biggie didn't really get to go at Pac like that. I think it had Biggie. I think if Biggie went at Pac, Biggie would murder him. Lyrically, Biggie would have murdered Pac.
I saw this West Coast dude. I forget what his channel is on YouTube, right? And you have like the young jokers. I say young jokers, but the younger generation reflecting back on the old school. So this was a LA seemed to be banger. Like he seemed to be in the street like that. LA dude. Pac is like, I swear by Pac, I live by Pac. You can't say nothing bad about Pac. Man, he broke down Long Kiss Goodnight. He was like, this dude is killing Pac right now. Rest in peace, Christopher Wallace. But he was like, Big is cold. Like, I see what people are saying about him. Like, I understand now. I understand it now. Like, I get it. And it was interesting to see a West Coast dude whose allegiance is totally on Tupac. Listen to Big, like listen to him. Listen to what he's saying. And he's throwing shots at your
Yeah, he's good at throwing shots. And the shots are very subliminal.
The shots are so cold. It's subliminal, but if you like, he just
I think there was one record that he did where he went, I forgot who he was. It was somebody that Big wasn't fucking with. I can't remember who the artist was. And it was a record that Premier did for Biggie, and he was actually going at Premier on the record that he did. And he was kind of like indirectly does it Premier, like you hanging with these niggas. Like, I can't remember what record that was though.
Oh, come on, you gotta remember that record. All right, we're gonna bring it back on another episode.
I'll let you know. I gotta listen to the record.
That John now. Yeah, man. But just the battle rap scene, when we say battle rap, we like, it's on record, but it's also in real life in the street, And I guess the Big Pop joint was the first one that really led to death, banging on record, banging on wax. And it's real beef, it's real tension. And that's just to see where we're at now with it.
Right. So
we need to learn some lessons.
Kanye, I don't know if you watched the video of the interview, but Kanye had said that he had said that there's a part in the disc where the whole pedophile thing about Drake, right? Mm-hmm. He was saying that 4 or 5 years from now, not when they want to come after Drake, they can use that against him, to take him down, just like how they used the Cassie tape and all the other. That was like 10 years ago. Now Puff is a target. They go back 10 years and they find some shit to take him down because now he's a target. He said they could very well do that to Drake with the Kendrick record. They start pulling out some pedophile shit to use that against him. What'd you think about that?
I mean, if you haven't committed a crime, I wouldn't sweat it. Now, if you have committed a crime, then you got something to worry about.
Do you think Puff has committed a crime? Do you think Puff has committed a crime?
No, I don't think that Puff is in. I don't think Puff. There are actual charges against Puff. That's what I think. I think that all of the charges against him are just allegations and accusations. Right. We saw what happened with Cassie. Of course, that was horrible. Of course, that was horrific. Of course, that was wrong. That was violent. That was criminal. That was settled out of court. Okay. So, that I'm not co-signing that. I'm not excusing that. I'm not doing none of that. I'm just saying that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about criminal charges against Sean Combs and why he's locked up right now. I think Jay-Z handled his business thoroughly. Jay-Z spanked that ass around. Tony Busby can't practice law in the state of New York. And now all those allegations connected to Tony Busby now goes away.
Crazy, right?
That was dope. I know there was a lot of criticism thrown towards Jay because when asked if him and Puffy were friends.
So all Busby shit is in the trash. All Busby's allegations is in the trash.
All this shit is in the trash.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now I hear that the sex trafficking charges are in the trash too. Okay, there's drug trafficking, weapons possessions. I don't know what else is.
Well, I mean, Busby had most of the allegations. He had all the harsh stuff against him.
Right. It seems like, a takedown. It does seem like a takedown. But at the same time, hang around the cesspool, you're bound to get shit on. Niggas play themselves just to try to get on. I mean, it's like, when you playing in a certain world and people will pull strings to jam you up and you help give them the ammunition. That's the thing. Like, you can character assassinate somebody. And, we've seen so many things over the years that would lend credibility to other things that we didn't see,
Right.
And you create that train, everybody hop on the train. It's like, go get Puff. But it's like, actually, his rights are being violated. Actually, if it was somebody else, white and powerful, this wouldn't be happening.
Right.
It wouldn't be going down like this, But then, I think there's more to the to that story that we'll find out once Puff does get out of jail and is able to tell his own story. And if and when he does get out, man, he's going to be like, his story now is that much greater.
Well,
he's not convicted of a crime.
Well,
his story is that much greater.
Yeah. If he gets off, because Puffy has, if you look at his history, Puffy has always fueled on tragedy. Like, if you look at everything that he's ever done from day one, from the stampede at City College, right, to the guns, to the Biggie's death, the gun situation with J-Lo, every single thing that's ever happened always catapult him to the next level. It's made him bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Every time there's some kind of tragic situation and he gets out of it, it shifts him up to the next level. As crazy as it may sound,
well,
it's worked in his favor, and that's what made him so big.
Let me tell you, that's a whole science in and of itself. And big shout out to my brothers from the conscious community, A.A. Rashid, of course, True Master, did the knowledge on Puff in that very same thing. This is like 2006, 2007, 2008, about how he uses tragedy to propel himself to the next level. And everything from City College to, of course, Big and Pac, Shine, just all of the tragedies that he's kind of navigated through, seemingly unscathed, always pushes him to the next level.
So he's fueled on that. This is what makes Puffy who he is.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but that's what it is. So if he gets off on this,
yeah. But I mean, or
he's got a serious story.
But does it humble a person? Does this experience being locked away for a year plus, does that humble you? Does that make you reassess life and your life's paths and the choices that you've made? Because, brother's brilliant. It ain't like, there's no doubt about it. You don't get to be that successful in the entertainment industry without being as smart and as brilliant as he is. So we take nothing away, like, at all. But then there's other things that not just him, but many of us partake in. We make choices and we put ourselves in positions where if somebody got a grudge, somebody got a gripe, they can create something that's not the truth just because it looks a certain way, So, coming out of this situation, do you go, you know what? I'm still a very, very, very rich man. I'm still a very brilliant man, very creative man. I can still put this work in, but, I'm going to stay away from the baby lotion. Anyway. You there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what else we got on the agenda, Mr. Amin Ra?
I mean, we can keep going, man.
Oh, we didn't really talk about Kanye. Thank you, Vita. Okay. So I watched it.
Okay. What was your thoughts?
Now, I ain't supposed to be talking about Kanye on here. You know that, right?
Well, go ahead, man. I'm listening.
Kanye knows how to get attention. He knows how to get attention. So a broken clock is right twice a day. Mm-hmm. So some of the things that he says, I agree with. Mm-hmm. A lot of the things he said was very hypocritical and contradictory. Mm-hmm. And let me just also say that Academics delivered a very dope interview. He stayed out of the way. He asked questions and follow-up questions. He presented the discussion in a way where, he addressed the morality issues in it all and Kanye's personal choices, in terms of who he married, the business dealings he's had with Dame, Jay, all these other artists that he feels betrayed by. Mm-hmm. And, I think he did a dope job in, I don't want to say exposing Kanye's contradictions, because Kanye was very honest. I think, I think that he was just giving it how he saw it. But once you come out in the in the, he's coming out looking crazy, my nigga. Like you even said, I didn't want to do this yesterday because they would lock me up. All right, so you already know how it looked. You know how it looked. Like you just said, you know how it looked. So if you know how it looked, what you doing?
Yeah, well, he's doing it. Well, you already know why he's doing it.
Nah, why is he doing it?
I mean, he's trying to get he's trying to get under their skin, basically. He's just, yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, he's claiming that this is their pain and they profited off our pain. So when he does it, they want to shut him down, and when they do it, it's okay. So that's the point that he was making.
But wouldn't he too be profiting off our pain? Because it's not like the KKK is friends of black people,
right?
So when you see that, so you know how I feel about the word nigga. I used to not say it for 10 years straight. I'd argue down. Channel I's first album, Station Identification, we had a song in there called What? Cause and Effect, which was encouraging people not to use the word nigga and bitch. Over time, I got more information, and I've changed my position on the N-word, the word nigga. Right. That's
so how you justify for that now? What you were saying?
I got a whole rhyme. It's the when you get into phonetics and the etymology of words, and you trace the history of the consonant sound NGS, NGR. Right?
Oh, niggas! Come on, don't put that nigga shit in there. I ain't going for that one.
Naga, English.
I ain't got.
Nah, bro, in Japanese,
try to play with me with that shit.
Light, bro, there's an ancient connection, right? So the original man is the black man is the original man.
I ain't buying that. That's an excuse to say nigga.
We inhabited all parts of the planet.
That's an excuse to say nigga. That's all.
No, it's not. I mean, you can say what you want to say. Like, it's not an excuse to say nigga. You can say what you want to say. You don't need an excuse. That's what freedom of speech is about. If you're not telling you're not harming somebody, you're not threatening somebody, you can freely speak. So you can say what you want to say. You don't need an excuse. However, there is a frame of thinking that suggest that using etymology, you can trace language back to an ancient root. And not just with the word nigga, but all words. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Like when you break those down, they come from something else and don't actually mean days of the week. That always happens. So even with us too, and you can see similarities. Anyway, that said, the point was if I was to walk in a room of elders that would be triggered by the word nigga, I wouldn't say it. Be out of respect for them. I believe a certain thing. I understand a certain body of knowledge. That doesn't mean that everybody, including yourself, Ron Lawrence, has to agree with me. And if it bothered somebody, I wouldn't use the word because I try not to be an offensive person like that. You know what I mean? Some people don't mind offending people. I try to stay away from that energy. When you know people will be offended, I mean, you can say whatever you want to say, but empathy suggests that maybe you should just fall back. And a person who refuses to fall back, knowing that you're hurting people, that's not somebody I choose to, connect with. Nah, I don't rock with that. That's whack. Like I know you're going to be upset if I do a certain thing, so I'm just going to do it anyway because you don't, I can do what the fuck I want to do. Fuck you, nigga. Like, nah, man, there's no need for that. Have some respect. So that's how I feel. And even with the whole Jewish conversation, a lot of things I agree with him. The original man is a black man, and we're the original Jews too. Period. Point blank. That's ours. We create everything. They take it, pervert it, sell it back to us. I get that. I understand that. But not every European Jew is a Zionist. Not every European Jew rocks with. So when I say Jew, I'm hurting people that I actually care about, me. So why go that route just to make a point to who exactly? So that's how I feel. That whole
even the swastika was packaged and sold back to us, which is crazy.
Oh man. No doubt. But the other thing is that the ancient symbol is straight. They took it and tilted. So it's actually a different logo.
Not only did they tilt it, they flipped it.
And they flipped it.
Yeah.
Right. So then it's not the same thing, and they're telling you what it means. That means peace. This means, extermination for everybody not like us. Ooh. Kendrick. See? Anyway, but back to Ye.
Ye just trying to sell records. At the end of the day, that's all that's about. He's got an album out, and he's spewing a whole bunch of bullshit, so he could be the talk of the town. Yeah, his numbers up. Every single feed you see, if you're, I don't know if you're on X, but
I hopped off.
What's the other one? Threads.
Threads. Yeah.
Yeah, every single post. If you're looking for it, you're gonna see it. There's a whole bunch of snippets that they put out of this interview. And in fact, the snippets were out before the interview even dropped, which got people to really, got people riled up. I think he's probably hit 1 million views in a day over the, maybe even more than that.
Wow. Wow. But, it's like, it's shock media. That's it. Shock and all. Shock and all. Let's be outrageous. Who can be more outrageous than the next person? As that Bugs Bunny cartoon is hilarious. Him and Daffy Duck competing to see who's the best. And they were the last scene. They're on stage. Daffy Duck gets the bright idea, and he straps himself up to a rocket, takes off, and then blows himself up. And standing ovation, encore, encore, encore. He said, only problem is only do that once.
So how do you think this is going to end up? We see what he's doing. How do you think this is going to end up? I mean, he's got a lot of messages, and people say there's some that they agree with, and then there's some that they don't agree with. But how do you think this will end up for him? How do you think his legacy will unfold? down the line?
It depends on who controls his story, who controls his narrative.
Because he's definitely boldly go. He's definitely boldly where no MC has gone before.
Yeah, I mean, just
you know what I'm saying?
No, not just MC though, just in terms of entertainment figure, artist.
Yeah.
Like I don't not in our
Boldly go where no man has gone before.
No, he's gone where no man has gone before, no doubt. How it ends up though, man, I hope with him safe. I hope with him safe. I hope with him happy.
Dude's got no security. I mean, if you saw the interview, you saw how he left.
Yeah. I wish him the best. I really, really do. I'm critical of his stances and what he represents. But at the same time, I know him personally. That's my brother. Love him. Don't want to see anything bad happen to him. But if you put yourself out there, when something bad happens, did you call it on yourself? He's saying things in a way to people specifically that's extremely disrespectful publicly. And, I just would hope those people empathize with his position and what he's going through and not take it personal. But what's been said is so personal. How do you not take that shit personal?
Right.
And specifically Jay-Z and what he said about his children.
Yeah.
Rakim 777 said Kanye had to go ritual robes, a monk's robe, aka hooded cloak, a wizard.
Repeat that again.
Rakim 777 said Kanye had to go ritual robes, a monk's robe, aka hooded cloak, a wizard.
Okay, so there's a code behind that. There's a subliminal message behind it, basically.
Yeah. Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Sometimes you gotta take a certain route to wake up the masses, depending on which route you take, to get your message across, basically.
Yeah. But what message is that?
Depending on what you agree with and what you don't,
Well, I'm saying what's the end goal? Is the end goal about self? If the end goal is about self, then it's all marketing.
Well, for him, yeah, most definitely. That's the end goal is for him. Yeah. And most dudes, I mean, when you really think about it, most dudes who come out with these messages, a lot of it is really about self. A lot of times when you think about it.
Right. And the reason why I asked that,
just think about when Ali says that he didn't want to go to war, is because that's something that he chose personally. His religion told him this is not something I'm supposed to do, and he stood by it. So that was a personal choice he made.
Right, but the self I'm talking about is, so he claims that he's going against the system. He claims he's going against the Illuminati, the powers, I'm going against those people. Right. Okay. For yourself or for everybody, for us, so we could see. I'm trying to show niggas.
Sometimes, I get what you're saying, but sometimes people take lumps for themselves to pave the way. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that you're doing it for others, but you take the lumps, and by taking the lumps, you end up paving the way for others indirectly. Right? So you don't necessarily have to say, I'm going to go out there and do it for everybody else. It's just the actions that you take to knock a door down, and once that door gets knocked down, and everybody else can come in. But you have to take the lumps for it.
That's reasonable. I mean, that's reasonable. Mm-hmm. I see that. Breaking down walls is a destructive process. Mm-hmm. It's a violent, destructive process. But once the wall is It's
But
broken.
think of Stepin Fetchit. Okay, this was the dude that was considered a coon. He did a lot of shit that we didn't agree with. Right, as a comedian, the first black man in Hollywood to be a millionaire. Right, and the first black man on TV to do all kinds of stuff. But he did coonery shit that we didn't agree with. But he also broke the doors down for for just black Hollywood. Period. We didn't agree with a lot of the shit that he did,
Well, for
but the
black,
fact that he did it, huh?
for black Hollywood, or
No, he did it for himself. This is this.
for black people in Hollywood.
Yeah, he knocked the doors down. Yeah,
For black people in Hollywood.
Yes, for black people in Hollywood. Yeah.
Because black Hollywood means we own control the creative
Right.
process.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's not the case. Right. So what happens is you end up knocking down the door. You create the box. It's like boxes inside of box. The Russian doll theory. So, a box inside a box inside a box inside a box. Right. And we break out a box and we just end up in another box. We don't control the box.
We don't control the box. No. But what he did was he broke down the barriers for other black entertainers to come in
for the new box, for the
new box, right? And made exactly control. You still control, yeah.
It's just the box
still control, right? Exactly. Yeah.
Box a little bigger.
Yeah.
Box is a little bigger. Okay, I got it.
So let's move along. Let's move to the next topic. Okay. You've been on Kanye for too long. Will Smith.
Yeah.
So there was this one song on there. I think it's Hard Times. That's the song that I like.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's I think it's a sample from Dr. Buzzard and the original Savannah Band. I didn't listen to the full album, but from what I hear, that's the one that stuck out for me.
Now, I heard the song where he's talking about himself. I only heard the one song. And he's talking about himself, and it was very reminiscent of Parents Don't Understand. It was Will Smith. It was the Fresh Prince. It was dope, and I liked it because it was so him. Now, I was never like the biggest Will Smith MC fan. Of course, I liked Brand New Funk. Summertime is an ultimate classic, legendary joint. And I understand why the other joints Parents Don't Understand. And what's the other one? I'm missing one. The big. Anyway, I understood.
Brand New Funk. It was a Brand New Funk joint. I forgot the name of that.
Brand New Funk was my shit. Brand New Funk was my shit. He murdered that shit.
Yeah.
Summertime and
yeah.
The DJ Jazzy Jeff mixtape with him beatboxing like early before the records was dropping. I caught that. That was like probably 86, 87, maybe something like that.
Yeah, and I was never really a big Will Smith fan, but I always thought that he had good showmanship.
Oh yeah.
He had charisma, and he was a good entertainer. But the records that he made wasn't really for me.
Nah, likewise. But I do appreciate.
I appreciate him. Yeah.
Yeah, like his.
Sometimes you need that kind of diversity in the culture.
I mean, he, in terms of making the transition to acting and Hollywood, the roles that he's played. I mean, I Am Legend is one of them. Legendary roles. Big blockbuster movies. He's a $20 million man. In the 90s. Will Smith was getting major roles. So that was so dope to see. A rapper, somebody from hip hop. Crossover in a good way, even though he's the biggest example of the crossover, to be honest with you.
Right.
But in a good way, because he always shined, even when the movies flopped, like the Wild Wild West. That was a huge flop. He still kind of got a lot of publicity around it. He looked good in it. So Men in Black, of course, that whole franchise is fucking amazing. What's the one when he's a superhero? What's the joint when he's a superhero? That was shit. That shit was a fly movie.
Okay, all right. You didn't say Men in Black. Did you say Men in Black already?
I said Men in Black. What's the joint? Hancock. That shit was dope. He killed
Enemy of the State. You saw Enemy of the State?
Enemy of the State. That shit was righteous.
That was dope.
Like, he came through and represented in a big way Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, of course.
And he was supposed to do Matrix.
Yeah, he fronted himself.
Did you know that? Yeah.
He fronted himself. But the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is, definitely one of the greatest sitcoms in American TV history. Like, that's like classic. Don't get no more classic than the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yeah, Will Smith is definitely a legend. And this upcoming project that he's got that he just dropped, I'm glad he's putting out music. I really am.
Well, you know why he's doing it?
Why is
I mean,
that?
I think he's doing it because of the slap. I think he needed to redeem himself, and I think he said, "I need to go back to my roots."
Wow, that's dope.
And yeah, that's what a lot of them do that.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Eddie Murphy went back to Saturday Night Live, and he did the I think they had like a like an anniversary special or something like that. Because usually when you're big like that, you're not gonna go and you're not gonna backtrack unless you have to.
Yeah.
And I think he needed to win the public over.
Mm.
And I think by him going back to doing records was a way for him to help make a comeback.
Mm.
Yeah. Because remember, rap was the foundation. Rap is what built him.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the slap, what do you think Chris Rock goes from here?
I think Chris Rock is still pissed off. I think he probably thinks that Will probably deserves a little. He probably needs to get slapped too.
You don't think they ever resolve that? Like they just
Nah, hell no, I don't think so. No.
Nah.
I believe he thinks that Will Smith is getting off.
Is there any way Will Smith can make amends for that, in your opinion?
Well, that's a hard one. I mean, he humiliated dude in front of the world, and he didn't do nothing about it. He just stood there, just took the slap.
Yeah. I mean,
he had a chance to drop kick Will Smith, because Will Smith was so confident when he slapped him. He was just like, he just walked away, didn't even look back. He's like, oh, this nigga ain't gonna do nothing, huh?
He turned his back.
Nah, he slapped her and just turned around and didn't even look back. That was the perfect time to drop kick Will Smith.
Yeah, but at the same time, Chris Rock is a professional.
Huh?
Chris Rock is a professional. Like, there's some things about Chris Rock that that are a little funny to me, but he's a professional, so he wouldn't have done that. Even if he was gangster enough to do it, he wouldn't have done that. He would just swallowed it.
Right. But do you think he was wrong? Do you think he was wrong?
Do I think Will Smith was wrong?
No. Do you think Chris Rock was wrong from the beginning? You think he provoked it?
I mean, I don't know how deep their shit goes. I mean, I hear rumors about how there's been ongoing tension between Chris Rock and Will and Jada. But it's the Oscars, it's people get roasted. It's a part of the thing. Like, other people commented on her hair there. Other people commented about her and Will's thing with August Alsina. Like, other skits reference that. They didn't get slapped, so I don't know if it was like, I don't know. That relationship, Will and Jada, is so complicated, and a lot of things that end up public really probably should have remained private. It's not even uncomfortable talking about it, to be honest with you. But in terms of how it spilled out at the Oscars, the first Oscars produced by a Black production company, where you're getting a Lifetime Achievement Award, I think it was. What was that award?
Yeah. Something like that, yeah.
And you took the opportunity to slap this man because he made a joke. Like, this is the Oscars. That's what they do. If Ricky Gervais did that shit, you wouldn't have slapped him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and not that he should. So anyway, yeah, I think he was wrong. I don't think it's ever right unless you're being attacked and you need to defend yourself, and then do is what you do, handle your business. But just walking up people and putting the mitts on them, that shit ain't fly. That shit ain't fly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about you want to talk about the Great Pyramids?
Let's talk about the
Advice
pyramids.
you would give to women in the music industry?
One piece of advice.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah,
man. So
okay, so there's this technology. It's called SARS, right? I can't remember the acronym. Did you read up? Did you?
I've read up on it, and I've watched a few videos on it.
Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so now you got the SARS technology, right?
Right.
Which they say the SARS technology can go. It only goes but so far.
Right.
It penetrates the ground surface, right? So you got this dude named Saji. I forgot his last name, but he's like the gatekeeper of Egypt, right? He's part of the government, and he's over Egyptology. So nothing goes past him. As far as he's concerned, everything has to go through peer review, or and when you're dealing with SARS, you already know what it is. It just scratches the surface. So it's according to him, it's bullshit. These dudes, they got this Doppler technology that they couple together with SARS, where SARS penetrates the surface, but the Doppler technology, what it does is it goes down even further, right? And it picks up the sound waves, which enables them to see beneath what's under beneath the pyramids. Okay, this is how they were able to get these the X-rays, if you will, right? So to me, I thought it was interesting, just the fact that somebody actually did something like this to say, maybe there is a possibility that there's something that's down there.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna say off rip, you see how I get down. You see what I don't know if you can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
You know what I mean? Like I got the pyramid, on my arm. So it's always captured my imagination, the Great Pyramids, the pyramid complex, pyramids in general, how they're built, structured, in terms of how they're situated on the planet, the center of Earth's landmass, in terms of the cardinal point being in coordination with that. The size of them, the Great Pyramid is 1/10 billionth the distance from the Earth to the sun. The size, the magnificence of it. It's said that they were covered in limestone at one point when they were first built. So moonlight hit it, it kind of lit up the entire all of that area was lit up because of the pyramids and limestone. And that shit's amazing. How they were built is like still a mystery. They're not tombs. They were thought to be tombs of some pharaoh, and doesn't seem to be the case.
So but that's the argument today. Okay, the Egyptian government believe they're tombs. Okay, so this technology is saying that they're not tombs. It's more to it than that.
Right.
It's probably some type of energy power plant that we don't know about. Let's do the research. Let's see if this is actually what we think it is. But can they even get that far if the government is putting a barricade and saying, no, you guys can't do it?
Yeah, well, because here's the thing, and I'm not saying right or wrong, up, down, left, right. I'm just saying that, you start digging, like you digging. You don't want to damage the air. You don't want to mess up the thing. It's like, that's what's wrong with it now, is that people over time came and took from it, stripped the limestone down, removed parts of it. And it's like it destables it. If it's for something specific, right? The ancestors at some point will let us know what those things are for. Maybe this is the time. Maybe this is the ancestors speaking to us through technology. But let's get as much information as possible, because once you disturb the environment, you can't put it back.
Right.
That's our limitation we've quote unquote advanced in so many, but part of our limitation is that we weren't as dope as them to put that shit together. Like, it's still a mystery how they did that. Can't figure it out. We can't replicate it. We can't, using modern technology, we can't build that thing.
Right. But what I'm saying is, who knows? Maybe the mystery is beneath. Maybe it's sometimes you have to be open-minded and not be closed-minded. You know? And I think most times when you're open-minded, you tend to explore, and then you tend to find out things
Right.
that's actually there. And then you may find out that it's not there. But if you're closed-minded, you're never gonna know.
If you can
I think the government being closed-minded, it just puts a halt to everything.
Yeah, if you could put it back the way you found it, great. But if you can't put it back the way you found it, then nah, we just gonna admire it from afar. Because once you don't want to fuck it up, that shit'll collapse, and it'll be like, yo, we don't know how to put it back.
Okay, well, they're saying it spans at least 2 football fields.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have to dig by the pyramid. Okay, dig away from it.
Yeah, so these images
if it spans at least 2 football fields long, you could dig away from it.
Let me ask you a question. These images on the right-hand side, I know that's supposed to be the complex. Those cylinders, coiled cylinders, go down like 2,000 to 3,000 feet, almost 2 miles, and then they connect
about 2,000 feet. They'll be the size of they'd be like an Empire State Building and a half.
And then there's these
cylinders. The base spans at least two football fields. Yeah,
2 football fields.
Right.
And I mean, that shit would be mad interesting, man. It's like there's a lot of theories as to what the pyramids were used for, really, astral projection, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm interested in the topic. I just want to see something factual, like this bottom image. Is that the graph that came back to the using the SARS technology? Is that the image?
That's the Doppler technology, actually, not the SARS, the Doppler technology.
That's the Doppler technology.
Because the SARS is not going to show you that, because it only scratches the surface. So that's what they're discounting. But they're saying we have the Doppler technology that we added on top of the SARS, which gave us the that scan. That's their argument.
Yeah.
But you know what's interesting though? I'm gonna tell you, me going to Egypt, one thing that I noticed is that there's 2 parts. You got the south and you got the north part of Egypt, right? The north part of Egypt, I've been to both parts. The southern part is where the Great Pyramids are, right? The northern part is where all the big artifacts, where you see the hieroglyphics, you see the tombs, you see everything. None of that's in the south. There's just these 3 pyramids, and then there's like a step pyramid maybe a couple of miles away. But there are no artifacts, there's no hieroglyphics, nothing. There's just the pyramids. That's it. No tombs, nothing. So so I'm saying to myself, like, it's almost like 2 different time periods. Like, okay, how long have the pyramids been there? And were the Egyptians actually there? Because the culture is in the north part, which is actually the south, but it's in the north, because that's where everything is. If you want to see the culture, you got to go to Luxor. You're not going to find that in Giza. In Giza, all you're seeing is the 3 pyramids. But what they did was they opened up a museum, and they took everything from Luxor and they put it up into the museum that's next to the Great Pyramids.
Okay.
But naturally, you're not going to find that around the Great Pyramids.
So let me ask you.
You won't even find hieroglyphics in the Great Pyramids.
You won't find hieroglyphics in the Great Pyramids?
No.
It's just stone.
That's it. There's nothing in Giza that you can find any kind of hieroglyphics.
Not even on the Sphinx.
The Sphinx is the only thing, just the head.
Yeah.
This is the only replication of what you'll see in Luxor. That's it.
Horamaket. That's how you say it. That's the real name of the Sphinx.
Right.
Horamaket is the real name of the Sphinx. The Sphinx is some Greek shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All that shit is Greek. Egypt, all that shit. None of that shit is African. I mean, the names actually.
No, the names, but the it's like everything: hip hop, jazz, rock and roll, Christianity, Judaism, Islam. Original people create everything, and then by the time we get it, it looks so different. We don't even know it's ours. Right. It looked like somebody else's, and then we're mimicking somebody mimicking us. Yeah, it's just crazy. But I've never been to Kemet.
Man, you gotta go, bro. That's all I gotta say.
It's a bucket list thing for sure. For sure. Yep. So what else we got on the agenda?
I think that's about it. I think you covered everything.
Well, we just gonna follow up though and let people know that this is OSNSR, Old School, New
School Rules, the podcast.
The podcast. Absolutely.
You can find us, right? You can find us at OSNSR.com.
That's right. You know,
on all platforms.
All platforms. Old school, new school rules. This is about bridge building. You know, every Monday, Ron and I are gonna hop on and do an Instagram live, YouTube live, Facebook live, and just kind of catch up on weekly current events. But we also have in-studio interviews, and we'll be covering events. You know, we're gonna spread the OSNSR love across the nation and build bridges, because that's ultimately what this platform is about: building bridges and connecting people.
Exactly. Okay.
What's up, Vita? Talk to us. What you think? Put in the chat. Thank you, Hakim. I bet you Vita tell us we missing something. Come on, Vita, what we missing? Yo, what you think about the signal text chat with the war secrets?
Oh yeah, niggas was somebody was eavesdropping. Somebody got up in there. So,
nah, he was invited. He was sent the invitation.
Yeah, but he got up in there. Like they didn't even know who he was, you know?
Well, they knew who he was, but they didn't know who he was.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, he was a reporter for one of the big papers.
Yeah, but Trump was supporting Trump. I mean, Trump didn't really, from what I understand, and from what I understand, he didn't really point blame to anyone.
No, he's not going to.
Okay, those were his people. So
Trump is never going to admit mistake, fuck ups, nothing. Actually, he did say this is very insignificant. It was an insignificant. That's not the word he used, but he said it was a mistake. But considering the last 2 months, it's a very small mistake. Like that's the only mistake they made in 2 months. Something like that. Yeah. So, but I don't ever expect Trump to full on go, yeah, we fucked up on this side. People want to lose their heads. Nobody's getting fired, unfortunately.
So, okay, you know what, too? Also, I got a chance to go to the African American Museum for the first time.
While it's still there.
About a month ago. Yo, that's crazy, man. How J.D. Vance could come in there and just say, okay, you know what? I'm going to just dismantle this shit. You know, he's just going to pick and choose what he want to keep. Like, he's in charge.
I didn't.
Like, how do you do that? I don't agree with this slavery stuff. We're taking it out.
Yeah, they told you they was going to do that. There's no surprise here. This is what you didn't know.
Yo, they just erasing the history, yo. That's
part of the point. That's part of the point. Is to erase the history, to get rid of us. Yeah, and then once you can erase the history in the record of a people, you can erase the people. It's just a process. It's make haste slowly. We slowly get you to a destination that you don't even realize you're going. Yeah, that's what it was all about. That's why I was like, yo, the Nazis didn't rule, they adapted. Plus Hitler was financed by American capitalists. This is a redo. We seen this before. And the Jokers was like, nah, man, it ain't gonna be like that. You bugging. You wild.
So,
Oh, okay.
so they said, okay, so they say also too, the tariffs thing, that was part of what started the Great Depression. Is that true?
It didn't start the Great Depression, but it multiplied it.
It multiplied it. Okay, so basically, so is history repeating itself? Have we
Absolutely.
not learned our lesson?
Did you see the movie Ferris Bueller?
Hmm.
In the movie Ferris Bueller, he's in history class, and the teacher is talking about the Smoot-Hawley tariff bill, 1929, I think it was in,
Hmm.
where they want to place tariffs on international products. It exacerbated the Great Depression. It really sank we know what that is already. They told us in the movie Ferris Bueller is my point.
But the crazy part is we already know that. So why are we doing this shit again?
Because
Because you think we're invincible, right? It's not gonna happen to us, basically.
I mean it's people had every excuse. Kamala this, Kamala that, the Democrats this, the Democrats that. They don't do this, they don't do that. Oh, okay. All right, I guess y'all want that. Now we got it. And people are going, I can't believe. What you mean you can't believe? They told us this whole anti-DEI, anti-critical race theory, the censorship of books, the banning of books, that's been going on for the last 3-4 years, 5 years, 6 years. It's like it wasn't brand new. They were telling us we want to get rid of y'all. Black, brown people don't have a place here no more. Your
Yeah,
place is the place
this is Black history, bro.
hold on,
This is all Black history. This ain't got to do with brown people at all. They attacking our shit.
you know that box Kanye got us out of?
Uh huh.
We actually went right back in it. We in a smaller box.
They're attacking our shit. They ain't attacking. Yeah.
Yeah, collectively we in a smaller box. Collectively, so the box. Yeah. Oh yeah, that it was this election. What just happened? Oh my God, it was bad, bro. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. They telling us.
Yeah.
Chest out. DEI and then put in a bunch of unqualified, unethical, like right in our face. Like, yeah, we doing this. What? You got a problem? You ain't got a problem, do you? You ain't got no problems. Yeah. Yeah, scary business. But every day that's like, the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to conversation, the whole Trump administration and what's going on right now. So we'll stay tuned. OSNSR, old school, new school rules.
Podcast, baby.
Yeah, man. Hakim Green, Ron Lawrence.
So we out.
We out, my dude. Peace, God.
Peace.